And if someone is now trying to clean up their act, help them. You don't keep beating them up and saying, you did this. I'm sure everyone is listening to this, myself included. I can look back on some really dumb stuff I did and think, I wish I didn't do it that way. And we have no idea of the fallout of a bad choice, a bad decision, how many people that may have harmed. We're not shown that. And that's a great gift. That's a grace that we don't have to look at that every day. Or somebody who's been in jail, he's had to look at that every day. He'll never forget what happened. And he's making restitution the best way he knows how. What do we want? To kill the guy? What's that going to do? So I'm kind of at a loss when I look at things like that. Like, please, where is that sense of understanding that, geez, this is a challenging planet, but it's a planet of healing. And so it's called mercy and compassion for one another. You show me the person who's never had a thought that, oh, God, I wish you were dead. I mean, we even say that, right? You say that about your spouse. Geez, God, I wish you were dead. You know, like, we say it in jest. But really, what damage did that do? So this is a cycle of endings. The leaves are falling off the trees. Come on. It's a death of sorts. Why don't you finally be accountable for your own dying cycle, which happens every year in the month of October, and die properly? Look at your stuff and let it go. You have to be silent to do that, and nobody can tell you what to do with that. You know what you've done. You know what your thinking is. A heck of a lot of people have had really crummy thoughts. And how do I know that? Because our world is so sad right now. So every dark thought that you and I have had, it circles the globe instantly. And it adds a film of gray and grayish and brown and, dark, depressing colors. You and I did that. Mama's beautiful. She just can't breathe anymore because of our thoughts and our holding a grudge and wanting revenge. I did remind the person who came today, she was only a messenger, but she delivered the message about this woman who is stuck in revenge, and it's making her sick. It stopped her in her tracks. But damn it, I want revenge. Well, and I did have to question her because I had a sense about this. I said, gee, did you grow up under any of the major religions? I'm not really, I've studied all religions. I embrace them all, and I have let them all go. They're all lovely, but I want more. So that's why I embrace non-duality. Non-duality is only for the 1% of the population that actually wants it all. I want it all. So I've gone there. So they're all lovely. But I had a feeling I understood where this gal was coming from. And again, because I studied them all, embraced them all, released them all, they're all the same to me. I have no favorites, and I don't cast anybody out. I don't care. They're all fine. But I did have a sense that perhaps this woman had grown up under Catholicism and was probably a very devout, practicing Catholic that would feel she's sinning if she'd have a mortal sin if she didn't go to church on Sunday, which, of course, gets me going. So here's what happened. I said, seems to me when I studied that great religion, and I was extraordinarily devout in that religion as a young woman, extraordinarily. So I'm pretty qualified to understand their teachings, because not only am I qualified, I taught this to young kids. I'm like, oh, dear God, I'm so sorry. Although I did teach them about the Ten Commandments in reverse, so that made me happy when I think of that, because I can't believe that anybody would put forth commandments that say thou shalt not, because it's backward. And I think actually there's been a little miscommunication about those commandments. However, I did say to the messenger, I seem to remember that great teacher, when he walked the earth, and he did not institute the religion that followed him, he was a simple, pure, humble guy, had no interest in religion himself, but I do think he put forth the memo, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Vengeance is mine, not yours. And then, of course, I did have to follow it up with getting a little antsy with, and I can get a little huffy. Those of you who have listened to my talks now and then, I get a little hot around the collar because I could only envision she's going to church every Sunday. Excuse me? Stay home. Stay home. Don't tell me you're ready to nail someone to the cross and go to church. It's incongruous to me. And it makes me crazy. I think I presented that very calmly. I'm getting better with my tranquility because the old me would be like, what are they doing? How can they do that? Have they not thought this through? But I'm learning. I am learning restraint and detachment and allowing everybody their journey. The problem is I'm an empath, and I see the damage it's wrecking in this woman's life and in someone else connected to that woman. So I can only be the messenger and say, think this through from a different vantage point, from a larger perspective. What is your training? Your training is, vengeance isn't yours, honey. Put it down. I'll take care of everything. And she'd be free. She'd be free. She would set the so-called culprit free, and life would go on. But I want to talk about the so-called culprit. I don't know who this poor chap is that this unfortunate thing happened to. But there's some great works. Number one, he had a soul contract to do what he did, or it would never have happened. So maybe in reverse, just a maybe, the other guy had killed him at some time, and now the score is even. That's a possibility. But it goes deeper with me. If this guy was on drugs, which I gather that's what happened because now he's clean, here's where my little heart and soul takes that. How did that happen? Who's really culpable for this kid who had to wind up on drugs? Was it parents that didn't give a flying hoot about the kid? They were too busy having fun and partying and didn't parent correctly? Was it a well-meaning Western ideology who's involved with Big Pharma that got this kid hooked on something? This kid didn't just go and get on drugs all by himself. What was the trigger? So here there's a family that's ready to crucify him, and maybe they don't see the bigger soul picture. You got to keep looking deeper. Who's culpable here? What happened? Because sometimes the guy who delivered the final blow, it wasn't him at all. And wouldn't that be tragic if once again there's another murder, because that's what our justice system would do. It somehow is resorted oftentimes in an eye for an eye. When did that happen? That's called our death sentence. So you see, we have fallen far, far from listening to an authentic way to live our life, a wholesome way of living our life, a wholesome way of seeing one another. And a wholesome way of seeing one another is, I see who you are. I see the God of you. Therefore, I have to put down my spear and tomahawk and give you my wampum beads. I can't hurt you. You are me. You are another me. And people say to me, that's hard. Baloney, it's hard. You're friggin' willful and won't do the work. That's how hard it is. You're too righteous. You're into judgment. And that's what's making it hard. Put it down. Put it down. There, I did get back on my horse again. So sorry. Okay, moving right along here. So in this month of October, where we're going to be on October 7th as the final month of autumn, please look at the leaves of your life, the leaves of the tree of your inner tree. What has to drop off? And allow it to drop off with grace and humor and wisdom and loving detachment. This loving detachment. Yeah. Oh, I know what it was. This morning, a lovely young woman, totally different case from the murder. That's the one she was telling me. She's been going through a terrible divorce for 2.5 years, and hopefully it will be ending by December. Yeah, she's the one I jumped on her case. Because, first of all, 2.5 years of misery, no. She kind of missed the boat on, well, she didn't get the memos. You see, that's just it. If you don't get the memos on how to drop things, you wouldn't know. So that's why people are suffering. They don't get the memo. That's why you need to be listening to the radio shows now and then, because, man, I am a good memo deliverer. And why would I be wanting to do that? It's a lovely thing. It's almost a pitiful thing in the same breath. I probably love all of you more than you love yourselves. I want you to be well. I want you to be wholesome. I want you to be creative and get on with your life and drop the idea that there's a December. That's this poor lady this morning. She probably got the bulk of my craziness because I'm like, what do you mean you're hoping for December? What's that about? There's absolutely no December. Oh, she finally got it. And by the time she left, I really full on believe she will not have a December in that dreadful way. And why can't the divorce, which has been so bitter and so unhappy, why can't it be done today? And all she has to do is drop it. Because I said, I don't know what your husband's name is, but there is no husband, and there's no you. Drop it. There is no me. The me is false. There's only the presence. And I know some of you are already starting, because I can feel it. Wow, that's hard. And it's the discipline of this moment. In this moment is only the presence. So what cantankerous husband? What? Why would you cling to that? Why would you keep creating the story over and over? She's created the story for 2.5 years, making her life sheer misery. Too bad she didn't know me 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago, actually, that's when they, my team, kind of suggested strongly that I be in seclusion for a while so that I could find the great teachings of non-duality and begin diligently, breath by breath, incorporating it, becoming it. It doesn't happen overnight, and the paradox is it happens overnight. You see, everything on planet Earth, everything is a paradox. It's a paradoxical playing field down here. We think good is bad, bad is good. No, it's probably just often the reverse. Murder is bad. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I have no label for it. And some of you are thinking, yeah, but if you had somebody in your family. Well, guess what? When I look at my family, there was a twinge of that. And I still forgive. I've walked the walk. And so I can only say to you, walking the walk opens doorways. It opens portals. And that's why you're listening to the purple portal, because the purple is a doorway into the 84,000 petaled violet lotus that is right on top of you, undulating at all times, undulating, inviting you to sit in it